Yo, what's up? Back at it once again. It's iskosi, a fun day kicking in for you and for yours. And I got to give a shout out to my ancestors as always for making it possible to doing what we do. And I got to give a shout out to you and yours, you know what I mean? Because, thank you for watching, subscribing, and donating. I'm getting a lot of love, and I appreciate that, you know what I mean? And I will try to reciprocate it back with this research. Now, this one comes from Bridge, Michigan nonpartisan nonprofit news source. Now, this one story come out of Detroit. White gets half of the mortgages in Detroit, nation's largest majority black city. You know what I'm saying? Mortgage lending have rebounded in Detroit, but whites now receive a majority of the loans. Each dot represents $100,000 in home loans in 2017. Loans to the white are in purple, while loans to the black are in green. Now, as you see, the purple are the white folks, and you look down here, close towards the river, you know what I mean? That's downtown Detroit. They done took that over. Now, you see, they got a little spots down here by the riverfront that you see a little bit of green, you know what I'm saying? Going towards, going up a little bit towards the east. But then you see a little spots over here on the west, more green spots. But the main purple stuff you see, that's downtown Detroit. This came out June 13, 2019. Home loans are heating up in Detroit after a year of a frigid lending market. But a majority of loan dollars go to whites, who comprise over 10% of the population. African Americans, who still make up 4/5 of the city, are now far more likely to buy homes in the suburbs than Detroit. The finding comes after a Bridge magazine analysis of hundreds of thousands of federal mortgage records from 2007 to 2017. That could suggest the region is upscale a decades-long pattern of housing that made Southeast Michigan one of the most nation's segregated regions. Consider, in 2007, when blacks made up 82% of the population, they got 75% of all Detroit home loans and 75% of all loan dollars. By 2017, blacks received 84% of all home purchases and just 34% of loan dollars, despite being 79% of the population. In 2017, just 14% of black home loan applicants in Wayne, Oakland, McCobb, and Washtenaw counties were for homes in Detroit, down from 52% in 2017. Whites received 44% of the 940 mortgages in Detroit in 2017, and 58%, $72.9 million, of the total loans, up from 17% of the loans in dollars in 2007. Several prominently black neighborhoods of Detroit, which combined to have more than 600 mortgages in 2007, had none in 2017. Let me read that one more time for y'all. Several predominantly black neighborhoods of Detroit, which combined have more than 600 mortgages in 2007, had none in 2017. As you see again, the purple, where it shows the purple light, and all the green. The green is the black and the purple is the whites. So those are several of the findings from the analysis of home mortgage records compiled by federal government to ensure blacks comply with the fair housing laws. The most recent data held by the Federal Financial Protection Bureau is from 2017. To be sure, mortgages don't represent all the sales in the city, where roughly 3/4 of the home purchases are with cash because of depressed property value. Nor do mortgages accurately portend population changes, as the majority of the city's residents are now renters. So just think what he said, the majority of the city's residents, which is the majority is black, 80%, 79%, a majority of the residents are now just renters, not even property owners. They just rent there in Detroit. But the numbers still shocked Dorian Harvey, Former president of Detroit Associated Realtors, Bridge Magazine showed him a time-lapse video mapping mortgages by race, in which the huge area of the city had, by 2017, few to no signs of mortgage activities. Black mortgage applicants. As a percentage of home purchase applicants by African Americans, Detroit's share plummeted for more than half in 2007, and to just 14% of black loan applications in Wayne, Oakland County, and Washtenaw region in 2017. So they're not giving blacks the mortgage money to do all that stuff. I knew this was happening, but to see it in the visual, he said, I don't see any good news there, bro. It looks like blacks have given up on Detroit, said Harvey, who himself has left the city in 2014 and moved to Farmington. Imbalanced market. Harvey is not alone. Some blacks bought home in Southfield, 2,293, between 2011 and 2017, then Detroit, 1,709, and nearly as many as Redford Township, 1,588, Warren, 1,103, Farmington Hills, 868, and East Point, 820, were the other top destinations. Those sales come just after a few years of mortgage market collapse in the country, but more specifically in Detroit. There were 3,700 mortgages in 2007 and 1,305 in 2008 in Detroit. Many were high-interest subprime mortgages that foreclosed, gutting much of the city housing stock and leading to Mayor Mike Mulligan's multi-million-dollar demolition blitz, because they're destroying this shit. The recovery has been slowed down. In 2012, lenders doled out just 195 Detroit mortgages to people of all races, compared to 300 for blacks alone in Southfield that year. While the numbers hint of both good trends, and while expanding opportunities for black in the once restricted suburb housing markets, and the bad ones, the decline of black home ownership and the decline in the black middle class in Detroit. Despite the uptick in mortgages in Detroit, it has risen every year from 2012. The number of home loans in 2017 was a quarter of 3,700 issued in 2007. Many other sales were done with cash or by land contract, a controversial device that leaves home buyers with limited protection. Traditional lending, which has fully recovered in the suburb, has not returned to all Detroit neighborhoods. It's not how you have an imbalance in housing market, said Gary Sand, the urban planning professor emeritus at Wayne State and former city of Detroit economist who studied the city's housing market. Sand says Detroit needs more people like Christine Peel, a lifelong city resident who left in 2006 and now owns a condo in Canton Township with her husband. Peel works in Detroit as a manager of Edison branch of the city library system. They are kind of shabbily employed taxpayers, people who you want in the city. They are kind of stably employed taxpayers, people who you want in the city. We move for the schools. Peel has lived on both sides of the Detroit border. Like most of her family, she grew up in the city and went to school in Detroit. At that time, she was single and bought her first home in 1997 near Russell Woods on the west side. Me and my friends were all buying houses, said Peel, manager of the Edison branch of Detroit Public Library. It was cool, and former Mayor Dennis Archer was making promise that things were looking up. Then a crime wave hit her block, followed by the Great Recession. So in 2016, less than a decade after buying her Detroit home, and now married with stepchildren, Peel and her new family moved to Plymouth. We moved for the schools, Peel said. High auto and home insurance rate in Detroit were factors too, she said. Now, like most of her family, Peel live in the suburbs. She and her husband bought a condominium in Canton Township in 2014. Peel is an owner again, but many African Americans in the country, Michigan, and the region are not. Home ownership among African Americans took a beating as the recession and predatory loans triggered tens of thousands of home foreclosures and forced thousands of black families to leave their home. Detroit was especially hit hard. In 1970, 60% of blacks owned their Detroit home, well above the national rate of 14%. By 2016, Detroit rate had fallen to 55%. Following the waves of foreclosures, it dropped by 45% by the year 2014. It has slightly risen in a few years, but now it's just slightly above the national rate of 41%. Now remember this, now Detroit is still 80% black, so less than half of the people own their stuff. During that decline, tens of millions, if not billions of dollars in wealth was lost as the flight continued to homes values spiraled down across most of the city. That saddened Morano Merle Bartell, a Detroit area real estate agent and broker who was part of the national effort to make 2 million more African American homeowners from the 6.1 million now. Black home ownership fell from 46% in 2005 to 41% in 2017. There she go right there. You know, she trying to do her thing. Give a shout out to Miranda Morel Bartell in Detroit. In her own neighborhood, the University District, west of Woodline Avenue, Morel Bartell saw the wealth it washed away. She bought a home nearly 2 decades ago at $325,000. At the depth of the recession, it was worth $60,000. And she knew neighbors who sold and took huge losses. Now, as the housing climbs all over the neighborhood, Morel Bartell said her home is worth $400,000. She's done fine, but many others, most of them black, did not. The people who lost are not the ones benefiting now, she stated. And it shows why the flip. This, you know what I'm saying, other neighborhoods and stuff, how stuff is flipping over. You got the little black section, like Indian section, East English Village, University District, Palmer Woods, Boston Edison, Ferndale Park. Take 6 of the city's most stable neighborhoods. What you naming? Palmer Woods, Rosedale Park, Boston Edison, East English Village, Indian Village, and University District. In 2007, black got 78% of the 500 mortgages in those neighborhoods. Since then, in other big cities across the country, skyrocketing values are triggering new construction and white migration into largely minority poor neighborhoods close to downtown, raising questions about gentrification. That's not the experience in Detroit, but as prices has risen rapidly, white buyers got 52% of the mortgages in those neighborhoods in 2017 compared to 21% a decade earlier. The trend troubles Harvey, who was glad to see people buying in Detroit again. But what pains me at the most suspense, she said, I don't blame anyone. I just know that systematically, institutionally, it has not been in our favor, African Americans' favor. There is still more work to do. Dunnigan has made improving neighborhoods the focus of administration and points to the work of the Detroit Home Mortgage Program to ease homeowners' ownership barriers. Whether through traditional mortgages or other programs, everyone goes to turn more Detroiters into homeowners. Donna Renshire, the city director of housing and revitalization, said in his statement, funding by banks, Detroit Home Mortgage Program has helped 243 people buy, in some cases re-innovate, Detroit homes, said Crystal Platt, the program's director. So far, those loans have been able to help buyers, who are just under half of the city neighborhoods, Platt said. And those loans have helped help lenders and many others people not in the program. Platt said she wanted to expand the blueprint to areas where sales have almost been cash only. There's still work to do, she said. Renster pointed out that African Americans have brought more than 2/3 of the 6,000 homes sold by recent years in Detroit Land Bank, a government agency that takes and resells foreclosed property. Most of the sales are for cash. Chemical Bank, as part of his contract with the city to be the primary banking institution, has committed $50 million to mortgage lending through traditional and non-traditional programs. Plus says she's understood the lure of the suburbs and their schools, the relative safety, job, and retail opportunities. We happy that people are taking advantage of home ownership, she said. But when it comes to Detroit, we understand there are challenges. Maura Bartel, the real estate agent, said she too is glad that the would-be black ownership are jumping into the market again, even if it is the suburbs. It doesn't matter well as long as those people get the opportunity. And Marita Santiago, a professor at Michigan State University School of Social Work, has studied the city housing market. She fears that segregation might occur in the suburbs as least as it has in Detroit. I think it opened up, Santiago said, referring to the suburban housing market, but I don't think it's fully opened up. Indeed, blacks are moving to nearby suburbs such as Redford Township, Southfield, and Farmington Hills. But few are choosing to buy homes in far-flung communities such as Troy, Rochester Hills, or Washington Township in Macomb County. But most aren't choosing Detroit either. For all the construction downtown, with the new lofts and glittering arenas, what continues to make Detroit less attractive is what has hurt it for decades: schools, crimes, and insurance rate. Harvey Peel and others said. Gene Kelly, a real estate agent who worked both in the city and Oakland County, says buyers want access to grocery store, banks, restaurants, and good schools. There are very few Detroit neighborhoods that has all those things. Many people don't want to cash a check or buy their groceries at the party store, he said. I think once those things back in the city, either you get those people back, black, white, or whatever. And there you have it. The city has been flipping over for years, and most of the white folks that came in and brought the property in the city, while blacks is going out to these suburbs areas and leaving the downtown and the city urban areas and forming their own little suburb enclaves. Hopefully, besides doing black ownership there, home ownership, they should do black business ownership there too. We're going to find out more about that. Anyway, this is Coast Gift Fund Day saying much love to you and yours. Donate and subscribe to the channel. Peace.